Welcome to Southeast Sportsnet. I'm Joey McWilliams, and I am pleased today to be joined on the summit by the head football coach of the Southeastern Fire, Coach Cesar Rivas. Coach, heading into the second year of your time at the helm at Southeastern there in Lakeland, you return 20 players that were starters from last year's team, so a pretty good start on a team that actually did well. Got 6 games in, 5-1 on the season. I know there were stops and starts. There were with everyone through 2020. But can you talk about last year and what that was and how that brings you up to where we are right now?
Well, I like to refer to last year as kind of year zero. We got in the door after the holiday. At least I did. January 2020. Started getting to know the staff that was here already. They had a lot of success. Keith Bearfield and the staff did an outstanding job of laying the solid foundation for what we have at Southeastern University football. But got in here and then got the ball rolling here, and we had 1 day of spring football, and then March 13th hit, and we didn't get to see our guys again until August 7th. And so there was a lot of transition, a lot of changing as well as everybody else in the country was going through at the time, and we tried to put a season together. We refer to last season as year zero for that reason. It was literally from the ground on up, getting through and trying to provide the best experience we could for our student athletes. So this year, we're kindly referring to this year as more of year one, being able to cultivate, have a spring football, have an off-season program, lifting, running, academics, trying to build culture and a foundation for what our blueprint will be moving forward, along with what the university has as its mission statement and its bedrock. So it's been a great off season for us from that standpoint, being able to feel like we got a real off season under our belt for the first time, and just really looking forward to bringing all our kids in on Monday.
And starting year one on
Yes,
Monday.
sir.
I like that. I like the way that sounds. That's year zero. I bet there are a number of other coaches that would probably like to look at it as that being the case. And there's only so much that you can do with Zoom meetings, I'm sure, after a period of time.
Right. Only so many PowerPoint slides and videos and that you can do. Just we're in such a relational business that it's just all about the connection that you make with people. And so this is great. Don't get me wrong. Absent of not meeting at all, this is a great solution. And we've been able to kind of learn a lot of how to supplement what we currently do with moments like this and technology and distance learning. But there is no substitute for face-to-face interaction.
No, I agree with you, Coach. And by the way, I like that as well, too, is if we can use this as a supplement and not the primary source of how we take care of business, I would like that a lot more. You come back into the season, I talked about 20 starters from last year's team that are coming back. And I know there will be battles at camp this year, and things could change heading into the fall of 2021. However, when you bring players back that have presented for your team some quality time, quality numbers, and the numbers, by the way, could be skewed a little bit. You get only 6 games into a season. It's tough to compare that with players that have 4 years worth of 11 games plus on their or beside their name. Start with Cooper Jones, quarterback for you, a 2-time Offensive Player of the Year in the Sun Division of the Mid-South, and has thrown the ball for more than 4,600 yards. You have a couple of quality running backs. Brian Bell has rushed for more than 2,600 yards. A 3-time first-teamer all Sun Division in the Mid-South, and Lauren Patton as well, rushed for more than 1,000 yards, and a couple of really good receivers too, and Harris and Henderson, each of them with 4 touchdowns receiving last year, again in that 6-game schedule. Seems like you have at least a decent place to start.
We do. Offensively, there's a great foundation right there for what we're doing from schematics to personnel. I think Cooper Jones, you hit the nail on the head right there. He's really starting to come into his own. Spring football was great for him, which is gaining confidence, and just not with the schematics and the playbook and his arm and delivering the ball on time and being accurate, but really leading the group. I think for him, his comfort level now with his teammates and really leading from the front has been a great moment for him moving forward. So I think that's where I really have a lot of confidence in what we're doing offensively right now, just mainly because of the people in the room. Miles Henderson coming on back big time off season for him. He's been in the weight room all summer, running, lifting. He just looks unbelievable. And then Box, Wendell Harris, nickname Box. He is he's a kid that can play multiple positions, and he showed that last year. I think you hit the nail on the head too with all the different. It is a little misleading with the number of starters returning because there was so much that everybody went through last year with COVID protocol and contact tracing, and so I thought our kids did an unbelievable job of passing the torch. Might have a guy out 1 week, but then another guy's having to play in his place, and then he comes back off protocol, and so you've got multiple kids now with game experience, we'll call it. I don't look at it as more starters as much as I say just game experience. How many snaps did some of these guys get? Some out of necessity, and then a lot of guys just really just sucked it up and went out there and played football when in any other circumstance, any other year, they might not have. They might have stayed out of a game or kept them out of a quarter or a half. And some of these guys just really played lights out. It was kind of Iron Man football last year for the most part.
I think everybody in the country experienced that whole next man up mentality.
Right. Well, and you brought up Lauren Parker and Brian Bell, our two running backs. We've got a couple guys in there, and we feel real good about our running back core. It's a nice, healthy, big, fast, and strong room. But those two guys, I can't say enough about their work ethic and their commitment to the program and their age, and how they'll continue to grow as football players, but as leaders off the field as well.
We're speaking with Coach Cesar Rivas here on Southeast Sportsnet as we cover small college athletics around the Southeast. And I would appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel here, talking about heading into now year one with year zero under the belt. And Coach, from the offensive side to the defensive side of the ball, Khalid Scott, one of the leading returners for you. Actually, your leading returning tackler coming out of the secondary. And then, of course, on the line, you have Curtis Williams as a freshman. He received all conference honors for you, too. So talk about some of the players then that we'll be seeing on defense for the Fire.
Well, I think up front, Curtis comes in and he'll actually get a reload on his second year in the program. So he'll be a third year sophomore, and then Khalid will be in the same circumstance. I think our middle age group guys is really the core of our defense. So you're looking at guys like Aaron Walton on the back end and Joseph Bonga. And then you're seeing Mark Vicek in the middle at Mike linebacker. He was a redshirt freshman last year. He'll get a redo on his freshman year again. And then guys up front, I think our defensive line with Curtis and Jake Schultz and Trenton Surloff, and the list kind of goes on up front. I think our defensive line group is going to be really the meat and potatoes of our defense. They're a bunch of blue collar guys that bring their lunch pail to work, and they're no nonsense, and I love it because they play with a chip on their shoulder, and they're rough around the edges, just the way you want a defensive line to be. They walk around with a swagger and an attitude about them, and they're tough. We define toughness around here as doing the right things longer, and those guys up front really get after it. And I love watching them and our offensive line. They make each other better every day. Those are two groups for us that we're really looking to make a huge impact for us this year.
Coach, when you came to the program, again, got things started less than 2 years ago, and again, maybe a little bit later on than what you might want to get everything underway, recruiting and all the whole spring business. But one of the things that talks about you in your bio, and I really like the way that this sounds, you talked about wanting to continue to build a football program focused on transforming lives through faith while building life champions on and off the field. I think it's a great quote. Talk about what that means.
Well, our mission statement around here is building champions while pursuing championships. And so we feel that if we can build a champion in life, then through the process of building that champion, we're going to win a lot of football games on our way to winning championships. But the common question comes up, well, that sounds like a really catchy phrase, but how do you do it? And I really firmly believe it's in our DNA to create a life transformational experience for these kids. And so we call our 4 core around here, you're got to be willing to grow and develop in 4 core areas, and that be your faith, number 1. Number two would be academics. Number three would be your social life. And number four is your athletic experience. And so as long as you're willing to grow and develop in those four core areas for us, then we can create this life transformational experience for these young men, leading at the top with being our faith. It's who we are. It's what we're destined and purpose to be. I firmly believe in that. I'm unapologetic about it when kids walk in the door and I say, hey, some days I'm going to probably sound a little bit more like a preacher than a football coach, and that's okay. You'll get used to it. And hopefully they start to mend and mold and they start to understand that we're purposed for a lot more than just being football players, and we're purposed for a lot being more than just students. And if we can grow and develop them in that area of their life, where none of us are finished products. And so, from the time they walk in the door to the time they leave, it's just part of the growth and the experience of their process in life. And when we hand them back off when they're whatever, 22 to 24 years old, some of the guys may be even a little older than that, depending on how long they've been in college, that they're a little bit better of a young man than when they walked in the door.
Yeah, with these extra years, like you said, getting a reset, I think that's pretty interesting. So you might be able to help some of them even into their mid-20s like that. I appreciate that, Coach. Thank you very much for explaining that.
You bet.
Well, we listen. The schedule gets underway. I know camp is about to get underway for you all, but then after that, the schedule. That's what all the fans are looking for. They're going to get to see you all take to the field August 28th. The final Saturday in August, and it's going to be a home game too. Great facilities, by the way, for you all there in Lakeland. The field is beautiful. The surroundings are beautiful. I'm sure it's a great experience for the fans. I'm sure it would be better for them too if you all got a win. So you're going to try to start the season off well against the University of Fort Lauderdale, a relatively new program to the 4-year process. That's August 28th, and then you take to the road to take on Faulkner, head out there and see them the first Saturday in September 4th, and then after that, it's a bye week early in September before you head into the rest of that Mid-South Sun Division schedule.
Yeah, we're excited about having an 11-game schedule this year. I think, SEU hasn't seen a full season in probably 3 years. I think 2 years ago in 2019, there was a hurricane that came in and limited the season to 9 games. And then last year, obviously, with COVID. So just giving the kids an opportunity to play as much football as they possibly can in the regular season. So getting that 11th game, no matter who it was just really important to us to provide another opportunity for these guys to play football, and also for the fan experience. It's great. We can play at home 6 times this year, and then obviously you got the Lake Wales connection. So there's a road game where everybody doesn't have to go too far. So that's really nice. But being able to start the season off at home is really important. And then playing that non-conference game to kind of gauge where we are on a more of a national level, to get out of town and make a nice long road trip up to Montgomery to play Faulkner. I think that's going to be great for our kids and a great experience for our staff. And then coming home for a bye week couldn't land on probably a better time for us, because now you get to kind of reset and reevaluate, see what you wanted to do from a schematic standpoint, from a personnel standpoint, see who's up and down on the depth chart, try to get a little more healthy at that point in time at the beginning of the season, so you can try to make a run in the meat and potatoes of that last 3 quarters of the season for ourselves.
Well, Coach, it sounds like that things are on the right path now, heading from year 0 now into year 1. That gets underway just on Monday, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. August 2nd, all of our guys show up, and we'll hit the ground running. Practice number 1 in the evening, and then we're fired up about it. No pun intended.
I like it. That's okay. You can intend that pun. I'm sure lots of people around campus do. The Southeastern Fire football team under the direction of Coach Cesar Rivas. Coach, thank you so much for taking time with us on the summit here today on Southeast Sportsnet, and success to you and to the Fire this season.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much to the summit. Thank you so much, Joey. Really appreciate you guys giving our kids and our program and the university such some positive pub. It's well-deserved. We work for a great place, and we serve a great God, and I appreciate all the support you give us.
Thank you, Coach.